Oh, what's that, Jenkins? Yeah, ulcer on my tongue, really sore. Yeah, my gran told me it's from telling lies. Yeah, no, not the one about Cherry Lane. No, not the one about buying more bikes. No, maybe the one about getting a Honda running. Yeah. Oh, hello. Oh, they're here. Best tell them. Hello, welcome to Tweed's Garage. In this video, we're continuing on with the Will It Run video. Yes, the Honda SS125 Will It Run. Yeah, can't string it out any longer. So what we're going to do is, I think in this one, we're putting gaskets in, putting oil in, putting things back together, fiddling around with other bits, finding faults, fixing faults, and yeah, maybe we have a go at starting it. All right, so it's a long one, so go for a tinkle, get a brew, come sit back down and get comfy, and we'll go to the garage. All right. So here's the switch back together. Got the new throttle grip on there, which looks nice. It's all greased up, and yeah, no, it doesn't return home even with the carburetor connected. I think it's just the nature of this scroll type throttle. It's difficult for the spring on the carb to put it back to position, so we're going to call it cruise control. Yeah, and this was the little piece of bully beef tin I bent up to make a little holder to go over that brass sprung contact in the switch, just to hold it in position whilst I put the contact board back in there with the 3 contacts for the 2 light positions on the switch here, and that all works quite nicely. It allowed me to slide that board in with the contacts with this in position, and then once that was in position, pop this out, and then, you know, put in the securing clamp, and everything was all hunky-dory and not shooting across the workshop. I have squirted some WD-40 in here because it wasn't moving a little while ago, but it's got a bit of movement to it now and sounding not so crunchy, and the horn button does work but doesn't tootith at the moment, so that'll need looking at. And the headlight bulbs and switches, I think the headlight doesn't work until the engine's running. Might be wrong, but none of the sort of headlight end are working at the moment without the engine running. So we'll sort of look into that. So to convert these standard M4 by 0.8 screws to a M4 by 0.75 Japanese standard, got my M4 by 0.75 tap in there, and then cut the screws to length, smooth them off on the back, and then we pop them in the die here like this, holding it in the vise, and then we wind it down with a bit of weight on the top so we don't cam out on the screw head, and down we go. And come back a little bit. There's one done, and then what we do is we'll just tighten up the die a bit in a minute, undo the middle one, tweaking the outside ones a bit, just a little squeak, which will just stop it spreading out. Just wind them all back through again one more time. And then those on our oil filter, that was a test one, replace that one, and put the other 3 new ones in, along with new O-rings. So I had a bit of a result. The postman turned up, and we got a gasket set, bottom end gasket set for the SS125, but yeah, they're genuine Honda ones, and it come with another half set as well, so that was a bargain. yeah, God knows where they have been sitting. But anyway, it came with, along with the oil pump gasket, came with new O-rings. And people will be moaning, oh, you can't use old O-rings, but these are old proper rubber O-rings before synthetic rubber. So I reckon these will be just fine, and they're nice and supple. So we got two to go in here for the cover, one here, which as it's the correct one, rather than one I've sort of measured and taken a guess at, to go on here, and then another one to go in here, and then the other one was for the oil pump. I've done that already. So let's get those on. Mind you, that was a pretty good guess. I reckon I was spot on. Anyway, we'll put that one in like that, then we can finally put this back together. There we go, that together. Let's see if we can hook that O-ring out. That was just a guess. Yeah, the original one's a little bit chubbier. Pop that in there, like that. There we go, don't lose that special washer or shim. Pop that back on there. There we go, oil filter back together finally. Right, the next thing, we pop this in the ultrasonic cleaner. Gave it a little splurge through, it's come up quite nicely. So again, we'll put the two seals in, and then this can go back on. And I've checked with the parts list, they're both the same part number, or same size. Yeah, that fits a bit nicer. And then that one goes on there like that. And then, yeah, this is part of the lubrication system. The oil comes through the case, oil fills up in here, runs down there, into here, through to there, through the middle of the filter, and into the rest of the engine. So yeah, you need a good gasket round there. Oil round that seal, round that seal. Make sure we get it on the right way, so the oil holes line up. I've got some nice new screws for that one, as they got chewed up. The only thing I haven't got is a new kickstart seal. That'll have to wait, because you all want to see if it runs. So need to stop nearly podging about. So, ready to go back on the bike. Also ran some of the bolts and screws through the ultrasonic cleaner, and then a bit of a dressing on the old wire wheel, just to clean them up a little bit. So, yeah, back to the garage. And look how well that genuine gasket fits. Perfecto. And quite a complicated gasket, because you've got a little sort of oil ways between the cover and the engine down here as well. Comes through one way and dribbles down to the bottom of the sump round there. I don't know why they didn't do it in the other casing, but there you go. Yeah, and then you've got the this little sort of oil sump up here, a gasket with a little sort of high area just to keep a certain amount of oil in there. So it runs down there. Yeah, right, off we go. Okay, so the reassembly begins. So I've got the oil filter here. What I will do is attempt to pre-fill it, just so it doesn't take so long for the oil to get up to the top of the engine. Get a bit on the seal, pop that back on. go. All around there as well. Just get it on there. Drop a little bit of oil down in there as well. Just make sure it goes through more than anything. There we go. It's just a case of getting those sleeves lined up. Perfecto. Right, there you go. Can you see what I'm pointing at? Okay, so roughly, I think, where's the longest one go? Here, I think. Longest one there. Next longest one, I think one there. And one there. Just judging by the length of the casing. And the shortest one, I think the shortest length is this one here. Oh no, it disappears. But don't go there then. It goes there. Yeah, and they've all got about 8mm just as they start on the thread. So that one there. Yeah, that one there. Get a screwdriver to aid turning things around. That one there. Yeah, they're all the same length. One there. One there. That seems awfully... Is that short one gone? I think that one goes there. That one... mystery where this one goes. Okay, cover's back on. Got all the screws in the right place. Not sure how far I got because I forgot to press play again. There was a hole down here that I missed, couldn't see really. It's not on the edge, it's sort of up a little bit. And the other thing was one of the screws was in the ultrasonic cleaner, hence the puzzle of trying to find where the short one went. So it goes there. So yeah, all done up with a screwdriver and then just a little tap with the old impact driver, not to drive them home but just to make sure they were tightened up without chewing the heads up. So that's on, that's on. Next thing to do is pop the old drain plug in, looking fine and dandy. Little nip up like that, and then we're ready to put some oil in there. So we've got the correct 1030 oil to go in, and it takes about 1.6 litres I think, so I'll drop some in, get the kickstart on and slosh it around a bit. Okay, let's put some in first, make sure it doesn't run out the bottom of the casing. Right, that's a litre. Now that's settled, let's get the old kickstart on, have a look around. Nothing running out from underneath. Got a new stainless steel bolt on it because the old one was looking a bit gruesome to say the least. Yeah, still wobbles around a bit. I was contemplating making the slot a little bit bigger, but that'll do for now. Whip the plugs back out so it's easy to turn over. I did notice that we had a little bit of compression returned. Now, yeah, it does vary on the Hondas, but normally it's most of them are checking the level when the dipstick is just sitting in the top of the case like that, just above the low. Right, let's do another. Okay, yeah, you can see oil down there, none coming out the bottom, that's a good thing. See if we've got compression. Yeah, that's worrying, we've got no compression on that side. Compression on that side. Nothing on this side, but something coming out the exhaust. Wonder where we've got a valve stuck open. Might need investigating. Okay, let's whip those covers off and have a look. Definitely got compression on one side. Let's have a look in here. What size is that? Bigger than my biggest metric spanner. So, time to upset a few. Oh, you wouldn't believe it. They storm out the room, they do, when we get the old King Dick out. Cool, that's tight. Somebody ain't been in here for a while. I think we may put a bit of heat on that. There we go. Stubborn. Okay, let's undo the inlet one as well whilst we're here. Yeah, starting to go little by little. And we'll get a bit of daylight in there. There's a little bit of corrosion. That's probably the rubber O-ring keeping it nice and tight. Well, that's as loose as a doofy. What's it? Stuck valve, maybe? Can you see that? You can see that, can't you? Yep. Let me zoom you in. There, can you hear that? Loads of play on that side, but I don't think that's the problem. Let me get it up to yeah, it's up to top dead centre. Now the inlet side, now we got a little bit of free play. That's disappointing. I thought we'd found it. I didn't think there was any play on the. Well, it might not be. Slide inside side, but not. So I think what I'll do is let them both off a little bit. So we definitely know the valves are closing. And then see if we've got compression on this side. So as you could see, or maybe you couldn't, with my finger over the spark plug hole, it wasn't getting compression there, but I was getting the sound of air being compressed and expelled through the exhaust, which suggested to me that the exhaust valve wasn't seating properly, and it was just allowing the compression to go straight out the exhaust. So what I done first was sprayed a bit of sort of WD-40 in there and a bit of carb cleaner, sort of flush it through the exhaust, kicked it over a few times, see if that would dislodge any muck that might be sitting there. But yeah, that didn't work. So the next thing to do was I needed to just check that the valves were returning home all the way. So what I'd done was undone the valves and just opened up the clearance a little bit, just to make sure that the valve could go all the way home, you know, and it wasn't just sort of sticking. And as you could hear there was quite a sort of bit of a gap there. So you know, sort of first I suspected the valve was sticking and not going all the way home, hence the large clearance. So the way to do it on these, you've got these tiny little square heads on the top, but I managed to get one of these little tools, a valve adjusting tool, a Honda one from David Silver. He's got them in stock. So if you've got Hondas, smaller Hondas with these tiny little square heads on, he's got them there, and they're yeah, they're not bad, a few pounds or something, and they fit on the top of the valve adjuster quite nicely. You can drop your ring spanner down, little 9mm. So yeah, you can get your 9mm ring spanner down there, and your little adjuster in the top. Set your clearance with that, hold that, and then nip it up with the ring spanner. So yeah, back the valve clearances off to make sure that they weren't, you know, the valves weren't hanging up or the valves had been adjusted too far down and it was keeping it open. So we tried that. That didn't work. So I went in then with a rag, sort of made a rag up and poked it up the exhaust port, and with a wire managed to get it round the stem of the valve and back out again, and then just sort of, you know, moved it backwards and forwards to try and polish the valve stem if any crud was stopping the valve from going all the way home. Tried that didn't work. So the next thing to do was I turned the engine over so the exhaust valve was open, and then with this screwdriver, it's got sort of a bit of got sort of elbows, shoulders to them. It's got shoulders on the side of the blade. And what that allows you to do is I popped it in the spark plug hole, rested the shoulder on the bottom of the valve and laid back a little bit like that, and then brought it up with a bit of pressure on it, not too much that you're going to bend the valves, but just enough so that the screwdriver's resting against it quite firmly, and then just twist the screwdriver slightly. So you're just twisting it like that, and you'll find you can just turn the valve round a little bit at a time, and then that allowed me to go in with a little screwdriver and just clean off the carbon off the back of the valve seat surface on the valve, and went in with a rag and cleaned it all off. Yeah, and I managed to get it quite nice and shiny. And so with that done, we then put our finger back in it again, brought our valve clearances back down a little bit so we knew they were opening and closing, and kicked it over again. And voila, we now have compression on both cylinders. So next thing to do is I'll go back in and set the valve clearances correctly. They're really small actually. They are 0.05 of a millimetre, 2 thou in old money. Hang on, just have a slurp. Yeah, so I'll set the valve clearances, and whilst we're here we will check for a spark, because that's the next thing we need. We've got compression, we need a spark. So just jam those plugs on there and then try the key in different positions. No spark there. No spark there. Try the third position just in case it was on all the time. No. So yeah, I can see the other spark plug as well, so we don't have sparks at the moment, so I'm going to have to drag the bike out, get round to the other side. The first thing we'll do then is check the points, see if we're getting a spark at the points. Alright, so I'll just get in here, do the valve clearances. Right, got it at top dead centre. Just adjust that all the way down first. It's extremely difficult with you in the way, but you get the idea. I'll go in like this, get my feeler gauge under there, set my clearance so it's a sliding fit, and just go in, pop the ring spanner on like so, hold the middle with the tool like that, and then just nip it up. Okay, so I'm going to move you out of the way and get on and do them. Right, let's investigate this lack of spark. Right, let's investigate the points. Doesn't look like somebody's been in there for a while. So again, I think we'll use the impact. Make sure we're undoing. Lefty loosey. Oh no, that one's okay. And there we go. Wouldn't be surprised if it's just damp in here at the moment. Everything's horrible. So, check what the points gap is. It's quite large. Points gap 0.3, 0.4 millimeters. Yeah, quite large. They look pretty clean. Let's dry them out. Make sure there's nothing keeping them up. So it's that screw there, and then you can get a screwdriver in between the back plate and the points plate, and you can just move it in and out like that. And we'll just check it. 0.3. Try 0.4. Hopefully that shouldn't fit in there, or it should be a very tight fit. Yeah, it's a nice sort of snug fit. So we're between 0.4 and 0.3, so spot on. See if we've got a spark now. Nope, still seem to be devoid of spark. Deeper investigation may be needed. So the reason we weren't getting a spark, nothing to do with the points. It was because there's not a battery in circuit for the ignition to work. Some bikes need a battery, some bikes don't. The little Suzuki that I've got doesn't need a battery for the ignition to work. This is a little bit later, and yeah, it needs a battery in the circuit for the ignition circuit to work as well. So unfortunately we've got this sort of collection here. Got this earth lead here, which looks a bit big for a motorcycle. Looks almost like a car one, but I might be wrong. Anyway, we've got this black lead here, and yeah, when we connect the battery between the two, just flashed it on there, it sparks, so that seems to be a short, so that would equate that is the earth lead. And then we've got this sort of red and white one here, and this green and blue one here, but it doesn't equate to the colour codes in the manual. So we've got the manual here, and we've got a red wire here, which seems logical, that goes up to the ignition switch off that way. And then we've got, well, I think it's drawn wrong. It's got brown and white there, and then it's just got an R in there. But as you see, this is a lozenge shape rather than a circle. All the single colours have circles, and all the lozenge shape are double colours. So I think that's just a misprint. I think that should be brown and white too, but that doesn't match our colours. But we can sort of trace them out a bit. I've done a little basic diagram here. So from our battery positive terminal, we've got one that goes to the ignition switch and one that goes up to the rectifier unit. It's all right. That's me multimeter telling me off for leaving it on. And then on the neutral side, yeah, one side goes to engine earth, which could be that lead, and then the other side goes off for the neutral for the lights, and another side actually goes off to the rectifier as well. So what I need to do is trace these wires. Now I've pulled the loom out a little bit, but yeah, it's a bit tricky to see. But I think I've traced this red and white one does indeed go to the rectifier unit. I need to find where this one goes, whether it's sort of continuity on the rectifier as well. So that will be my neutral, that will be my live, which are the important ones, and then this one probably goes to the ignition switch, but I need to trace them, so I'll get back to you. Oh, other things, yeah, so we now got spark, we got compression, we've got sparks, and we now have fuel, as I've well, nearly popped the carburettor back on in situ, ready to go. But yeah, I've taken the fuel tank off, so that'll have to wait a bit. So I'll get back to you on that. Right, after a bit of investigation, the red and white goes to the rectifier. I think it's just an upgrade on brown and white. And I peeled the insulation back on the loom because there was a bit of a lump, and sure enough, the green and blue is actually the red fused feed for the battery, so the black must be definitely the neutral. The red's got quite hot at some time in its life, and yeah, right back to the ignition switch over here, even through that connector there. So I'm not sure if there's a dead short somewhere, but there was also this fuse holder in with the battery, so we'll put this on. It had a 20 amp fuse in, seems a bit big, but I'll have a look, see if we've got a smaller one or what size it should be. Yeah, so making progress. I think what we'll do is sort of connect the battery with sort of fly these crocodile clips, so that if there is a massive short somewhere, it won't be drawing enough current to sort of melt the loom. Right, let's continue. So we've had a little fiddle around with the wiring. Doesn't look very pretty, but put an inline blade fuse holder just because it's easier to get fuses anywhere to go in these, whereas the old glass ones are getting harder to come by. It says 15 amp fuse in the manual, but these are designed for 12 volts. Well, it's 32 volts. So I've started with a 5 amp one in there for now. I think I worked it out about Ohm's law. We need a sort of 7.5 equivalent 12 volt one in there to do that. But yeah, and I think the little charge I was getting when connecting the battery to one of these wires, can't remember which one it was, is just the coil charging up, you know, the short through the coils on the ignition side of it. When you turn the switch to the off position, it wouldn't do it, you wouldn't get the flash, so that suggests the ignition. So we can now, this is temporary, yeah, don't start writing in, this is just to see if it works. Yeah, so battery connected, no fire, no warm leads, that's all good. Yeah, we have got a few signs of life. If I turn it to the mid position, doing our brake light, we have a working brake light, and then also we have turn it to park position, We've got a park light as well. Not much light in the headlight at the moment, so that'll need investigating. Then if we move to the main event, if we put the old spark pluggy up there, put the ignition on there and give it a little kicky kick, you get sparky spark. Move you in for a closer look. Sparky spark. Can you see those? Yeah, so we have fire in the hold. Fire in the hole! Unfortunately, we found, yeah, a dead spark plug for the other side. I've swapped it between the two just to prove the point. So this is dead. There is charge getting down the lead and the HT cap, I know, because I've got it in my fingers. So we know that side's working, so I just need to sort another plug out. Progress. Right, we're just quickly back at the spark plugs. As you saw, I heated that one up. This was the one that wasn't sparking. Just gave it a really good cooking, see if we can get it to spark, because yeah, there is a bit of an issue. Haven't been able to find any equivalent plugs for these early, and these are the wrong ones anyway. These are D8 HAs, and I think the book says D10 HAs, which seem to be no longer available. Been on to the Green Spark Plug Company, or I normally get my spark plugs from, who are very good, but I can't find anything. So what I'll probably do is get in touch with them and see if they can recommend an equivalent. But yeah, let's see, as we want to try and get it running with all the bits it did have. Let's turn the ignition on. Oh! There we go, we have got a spark, but it's not going from, interestingly, it's not going from the electrode in the centre to the, I never know what you call it. This bit's the electrode, I don't know what you call this bit hanging out, the hanging out bit. But it is sparking, which is more than we had before, but it's sparking from the base of the insulator to the electrode in the centre. So there must be a crack up the nose of that spark plug or something. But it's more than we had before. So yeah, we might have to try and start it with that one in, whilst I search for an equivalent plug that will do the job. Right, well, it's a bit better than it was before anyway. And there's the carburettor sitting there waiting to have fuel hose put back on it, put the fuel tank on, but throttles all working nicely, so nearly ready to go. So we're back down the garage wearing Wellingtons because the rain continues and it's so wet between the garden and the garage, sort of 4-inch deep puddles, that my trainers are now soaking wet, so I've had to resort to the Wellingtons. But postman has been. We've managed to find some equivalent plugs through the Green Spark Plug Company, and I bought 2 of each, 2 Lodge plugs and 2 KLG spark plugs, both British spark plug manufacturers, but by this time they were owned by the same company. They also got some plug cap tops as well. These are sold as Remax. That was an old British name as well, but yeah, see trademark there. But I think they're made by the same company, Indian company, that makes all the Lucas parts as well. But anyway, got a new set. The nice thing about these plugs is they are new old stock, and they all come wrapped in these delightful little wax paper instructions. But as you can see, both of these companies were at the time owned by Smith's Industries. See, same printing on the Lodge one as well, although they got Lodge at the top and a KLG there. Yeah, all under the same umbrella. So yeah, got a choice. Don't know whether to go with the KLGs or the Lodges. might go really old English, go for the lodge plugs. And they'll be fine. I've had some people, when I bought some for the Suzuki, someone was going about, you know, don't use new old stock spark plugs. I mean, they're not cabbages, they don't go off. As long as they're dry, stored, you know, haven't been through a heat cycle, they will be perfectly good. And the one in the Suzuki is doing sterling service, so yeah, ignore that. Right, let's get these in, these plug caps on, exhaust back on, and yeah, we're nearly getting there. So I'll put the KLG one away for now. I just love the boxing and the packaging. It's great, isn't it? A little bit of care. Somebody wrapped all those up on the old production line and popped them in a box. Okay. What we need to do is just check the gaps on them. They're about 0.6, 0.7 millimeters. So let's just check this one. Got a little bit of fluff on, but nothing to worry about. So I need to open them up a little bit. So carefully pop the old narrow nose pliers in there. Give it a little eke. Perfect for that one. And this one needs to open up a little bit. I've measured it. I've tried it already. A little bit more. I'll tell you what, they're a lot stiffer than the old NGKs nowadays, trying to straighten that electrode out. Just want to be careful with the pliers that you don't chip the insulator. So you need a fine pair of pliers. There we go. Right, 2 plugs ready to go in. What I have to do is find the other one that was there, because I need to take the collar off to put it on that one, and then put those on. And we're getting there. Oh, I know where it is. It's on my desk. Got to go back in the house again. What we have discovered is the NGK plug. The actual top of it is slightly longer, making it a bit trickier to get these HT caps on. Yeah, might need to sort of order some different ones at a later date, but we can get them on for now. And this might have been the reason for the strange sparking on the left hand side plug. Got a crack in the spark plug cap there that would upset it a little bit. Right, let's see if we can pop the exhaust back on. Okay, we were a little bit premature putting the nut on there. I need to get that in there first. And then pop our half ring exhaust clamps, get them up there as well, and throw them on the floor. They seem to like going on the floor. Stay in there, little. Oh, that one in there, and that's pinched tight. And that one, yeah, that one will stay there. Get the ring up there quick. Just loosely assembled so that they can't fall out again. But hopefully we've got a bit of movement to swivel the exhaust onto the stud down below. Right, hopefully those won't drop out. So give it a little wiggle. Got to move the centre stand down. Oh, there we go. Because it actually rests on the bottom of the exhaust. Okay, that's there. Washer, spring washer nut on there. Just assemble that loosely as well. a long bolt through the back of the engine casing, through the exhaust, same again, flat washer, spring washer, nut. We'll just set it in position, just hand tight with no play, and then do this end up. Even Stevens, try and keep the stud threads even on both sides. As with every garage up and down the country, I've lost the 10mm socket. Let's use a spanner. Got more feel with a spanner. Yes, I know we should have put a new gasket in, but it'll probably have to come apart again anyway. There we go. That's done up nice and tightly. I'll give it another squeak if it runs and gets warm, and then we'll just do these two up under here. One was a 14. Alright, it was a spanner, wasn't it? Brake pedal's alright. 14 on there. Oh, I ain't gonna like it. I'll get the adjustable again. But you can't see. So what you can't see, you don't know. Right, that's all that buttoned up. And if you're wondering what these 4 bolts are, I could hear you in the background, "Hey, Mr. Tweed, what are those 4 bolts?" They're for the footrests, if you remember rightly. But yeah, I think I might give it a clean and a bit of a paint. So for now, we'll leave them off, pop them up there, and sort them out a bit later. So just got to go to the desk, find the old spark plug so I can whip the adapter collar off, get that one on, and then we'll now this petrol's been in there a while, and there would be those that accuse me of completely rebuilding it. Of course it was going to run. Everything was changed, so I've only changed the spark plugs and I've only fitted a battery. So what I'll do is we'll check what this fuel is like, what colour it is, put a bit of fuel hose on between there and there with a filter on, and we'll try and start it on the fuel that was in the tank, just for the doubters and the Nelly naysayers out there. Alright? Okay, let me sort that out. Right, this is quite tight. I don't want to ruin it taking that filter bowl off, but we'll run some petrol through. Sort of petrol coloured, there's no water in it. And yeah, no lumps of rust or muck in there. I think that'll do. Smells sort of petrol-y. About 3-star, I reckon. Yeah, oh yeah. We'll pop that back in there for now. So we'll give it a go on that. Filter seems to be doing its job. Sod's law, I bought a load of those sort of miniature ones. I put one on the Express, and I ordered a load because it took a sort of few days to turn up. And I've put them away somewhere. I remember putting them in a pot. I've marked on there fuel filters on the outside, so I know where it is, what it is. Do you think I can find them? Looked everywhere. So for now we'll just sort of put a bit of fuel hose between there and there. So we've got compression, we've got fuel, and we've got new sparks. So I think we're nearly ready to give it a little go. Right, let's try and get this adapter off of the spark plug. I'll pop it in a collet and see if we can get it undone with that. Get out the trusty adjustable spanner. No, that don't seem to work, so we're going to have to resort to the grips. Yeah, there we go. That's moving nicely. Okay, that's off. Right, pop it on the new plug and just clean up the threads a bit. And now pop it in the bike. Okay, one more little job to do is the kickstart. No, not replace the bit of hose, we'll leave that on. Well, I don't know if you can see from there, but this kickstart lever lays back quite a way. So the idea, what I'm going to do is just take it off and clean this up a bit and pop a blob of weld on here, build it up a bit so that that sits there rather than all the way back there, because otherwise kicking it over, your foot's just going to slip off it all the time. So yeah, I'll just do that. Right, well I've dragged it outside. Kickstart is fixed. Oh, and I'm being hopeful. Put the foot pegs back on, just in case. Put some coil on the front brake cable and soaked it for a bit. We've actually got a bit of front brake. So we've got front brake, back brake, clutch, throttle. I think we're all ready to go. Let's turn the fuel on. Give the carburetor a few minutes to think about its life choices and see if it'll run. Right, how many kicks do you reckon? 3? Oh, just got to work out how the choke works. Up is choke on. Choke is on. Here we go. Ignition is on. Quarter throttle. Nothing. Oh, 2 kicks. And again. 3 kicks. Sounds like an old squeaky bedstead. Who's counting? 4 kicks? 4 kicks. Put it on reserve just in case. Ouch. Let's try it without choke.
No, she needs choke. Maybe reserve time for it.
Oh, many kicks. It nearly ran. Let's bring the tick over up a little bit. Try that. Oh, crappy kickstart.
Drop me on a foot.
Let's just check it's getting fuel. Yeah, getting wet, but it doesn't smell very petrol-y. I think we were hoping a bit with that old year-old petrol, but you know, fuel was bad in the 70s. Right, let's give it a little YouTube magic. That is hopeless, that kickstart. See if she's flooded. Oh. Come on, you beauty. Key's fallen out. Don't think it needed it. Oh, we turned the fuel off. Let's turn the fuel back on. Key's fallen out again. God, that petrol don't smell good. Well, it's a Honda. Sunday exhaust, it's all holy. Shall we see if it runs? Oh, just get my ignition key. I popped it in there, just in case I forget. Stopping on the front brake. The lights work. Not a high beam light. No bulbs. No indicators. No horn. Well, there you go. Goes alright. Makes some funny noises. Have to investigate those. There you go. You have a little rest. You've done well. Right. There you go. See? Didn't lie to you. In the end. Did it run? Yes, it did. So, there you go. Took 3 videos, but we got there in the end. Yeah, I hope you like that. And a sort of YouTube style-y brake cleaner getting it running. But once she was up and running on that old fuel, started first, second kick every time, even when I was sort of moving the bike after I'd finished filming and I tucked it back in its little garage. Yeah, starts really well, ticks over nicely. There was a little rattle, don't know if you heard that on the camera, sort of a revolving rattly sound, like something rubbing on a mud guard or something rubbing on a chain guard. But I sort of spun both the wheels and couldn't get it to make the noise. It's only when it's moving. I'm hoping it's not cam chain, but you'd probably be able to hear that when you're just revving it on the stand. It should make its presence known. Might be something like the speedo cable, just something simple like that broken, or you know, the drive gearbox broken, something like that. So I need to sort of check that out, maybe disconnect it and then take it for another ride, see if the noise disappears. So yeah, a little bit of work to be done. I mean, really it needs sort of, you know, taking apart and the valves and seats cleaning up and grinding back in again. Probably a new set of rings and sort of, you know, the barrels being honed, you know, just to sort of clean it up a little bit. But yeah, I was pleased with it. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give us a little like and hit subscribe, tell your friends, and yeah, you know, don't cost a penny, and gives you something to watch when you're on the toilet. Anyway, I won't chat any longer because some of you probably need to go, and we'll see you in another video. All right, cheerio. What's that, Jenkins? You got 2 ulcers? Yeah, that's because you're a lying little toe rag. Engine sounds really solid and blow my nose. Blow my nose. And seeing if it will run. Oh, can I hang? So, get yourself a brew, go for a wee, then